Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Gwen Jacobsen, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 117, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. So this week's edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press is dated Friday, May 14th, 2021. And the front page news says Lucy's Bell raises approximately $2,000 for cerebral palsy. And there's a really nice big picture here of some people, and I'll read what it says underneath. Pictured are members of a team known as Lucy's Bell, which gathered together on May the 8th to participate in a 30-minute walk, run, wheel for cerebral palsy. The team was fundraising in support of the Cerebral Palsy Association of Manitoba, CPMB, and pushed past their $1,000 goal. From left to right, starting in the front row, are Mitchell Wiebe, Jalen Lavisseur, Justin Lavisseur, Aiden Lavisseur, Keith Wiebe, Jennifer Wiebe, Blake Payette, Melissa Payette, Cody Payette, Brenda Warner, Sandy Andrew, Amanda Boris, Allison Curl, and Asher Boris. And it goes on to say that Saturday, May the 8th, was a special day for the Payette family of Neepawa. On that day, Melissa Payette, her sons Cody and Blake, and the rest of her team banded together to participate in a walk, wheel, or run in support of the Cerebral Palsy Association of Manitoba. The local team, named Lucy's Bell, in honor of Melissa's mom, set out to raise $1,000. By the end, Lucy's Bell was able to fundraise a total of approximately $2,000 for the cause, a new record for the team. While on our walk, we also got a generous donation from a gentleman named Ernie. "Thank you," said Melissa. "Everyone had a great time and cannot wait until next year." This walk is a cause that is close to the Payette family's hearts. It all started when Cody, Melissa's oldest son, was just 18 months old. Melissa noticed that Cody wasn't sitting up on his own and wasn't advancing as other kids his age were. "That's when our journey started with all the doctors," said Cody, via a letter provided to the Banner and Press on May the 6th. Cody explained that he saw several specialists and went through numerous tests, the process of getting diagnosed taking a very long time. Finally, in 2003, the diagnosis was received: acute cerebral palsy. He has a wheelchair nowadays and can walk a little bit with the help of a walker. He said, "I had my first surgery in February of 2004. I had heel cord lengthening to both of my legs. Then in 2008, my left leg was turning in again. So another surgery, heel cord and hamstring lengthenings. So far, so good," said Cody. "I still cannot walk on my own, but my mom and the therapists and my wonderful teachers are doing the best they can to help." Cody noted that he'd like to be able to communicate with everyone since it can be hard for him to express himself. Of this he wrote, "I do not talk, but I can make a lot of noise if I want to, haha." Cody loves listening to music, playing with toys that make noise or light up, and watching parades and fireworks. "They make me laugh," Cody said, adding, "I also like bowling. Mom and I stand up and she throws the ball, and we have lots of fun." Melissa stated that Cody is doing very well now and has had some more surgeries. He recently was given some help from the President Choice Children's Charity, as well as donations from other sources. Cody and Blake now have a safe van to travel in, making doctor's appointments and traveling around so much easier. To all those who donated and or participated, the Payette family extends their thanks. It helps so many families in the Westman area, Melissa stated on behalf of the team. There's a couple more pictures. The Lucy's Bell team walks and wheels down Neepawa's Main Street, enjoying the good weather during their event. And here's Melissa with her sons, Cody and Blake. The trio, along with the rest of the team, had green ribbons, balloons, and white bells for the event. Safe to say, the trio was geared up and ready to take on the day. And here's a picture at Wasagaming Community Arts Gallery. It shows Judy Zeke observing artist Carrie Hume as she arranges her teacup display outside the Wasagaming Community Arts WCA Gallery in Wasagaming, Riding Mountain National Park on May the 8th. Items were available to purchase as a fundraiser for WCA. And here are a couple of exhibits created by Erna Honeyman, displayed at the WCA. And there is an addition to the Minnedosa Beach by Kira Patterson. There's a brand new attraction at the beach of Minnedosa Lake. The Minnedosa Beach Enhancement Committee, or MBEC, has been continuing its mission to improve the area at Minnedosa Lake, with their latest project being a 100-foot zip line. MBEC's biggest project was the new playground, which was installed about a year and a half ago in November of 2019, but they never planned to stop there. MBEC started discussions about what to add to the beach playground while we were waiting for the main structure to be installed. We decided on a zip line a little before the completion of the main play structure over a year ago, explained Lisa Buchanan, an MBEC member. We wanted to add something unique and fun that people would enjoy, and what's better than a 100-foot zip liner? PlayQuest Recreation installed the new zip line, with Town of Minnedosa work crews helping to prepare the site for the installation. While there are some finishing touches to be done, the new attraction is in use already. We've seen lots of people enjoy it already, Buchanan said. We have yet to get the surfacing, but that will be happening as soon as possible. Buchanan noted that the zip line cost about $31,000, but they didn't do any fundraising specifically for this project because it had always been part of the plan while they were raising money to do more than just the play structure. We are so thankful for all the amazing community support, Buchanan expressed. We will be getting a sign soon to thank the sponsors that helped fund this project. We're all really proud of what we have achieved and hope everyone enjoys it for many years to come. Ah, cool. I think I'll come back to this page later. Out of Helen's Kitchen. Helen Drysdale's article is entitled Dances this week. With radio, television, and the internet at our fingertips, the whole world is our community. At one time, your community was confined to how far your horse and buggy could drive and return home in one day. People needed to gather for a break in the solitude of farm living and from everyday hardships. One such way was a work or building bee. In the spirit of cooperation, bees were held to build barns, houses, make quilts, and sometimes to clear land. It was a time to gather and work together, to visit over the heavily laden tables of food prepared by the ladies. Everyone had the chance to show off the new baby, hear the latest news, and complain about the government in Ottawa. Well, things have not changed much there. Entertainment was organized at the school and later halls, where people shared their gifts with solos, duets, quartets, fiddle routines, and whatever talent they possessed. Debating societies were common, with such topics as politics, women's right to vote, science, and the newest developments. The school Christmas concert was a big event, and everyone from the community came. Planks were set up for a stage, wires were strung across the front of the stage holding the sheet curtains in place. Every child, young or old, had a part with songs, drills, plays, and recitations. Part of the program was the nativity scene, reenacted with shepherds in bathrobes and angels trimmed in tinsel, a solemn Mary and Joseph, and a doll laying on a pile of straw for baby Jesus. The grand finale was always singing "We Wish You a Merry Christmas," and that was Santa's cue to come in and pass out bags of candy. Dances were held to celebrate the opening of every new barn, house, or store before the furniture or animals moved in. Music was usually a pickup orchestra, oftentimes comprised of a fiddler, piano player, accordionist, or other musical instrument. The hat was passed around before lunch for a donation to the band. The ladies who had brought the lunch served it at midnight. The dance started up again and continued into the wee hours of the morning. Babies slept on coats under the school desks as the dance continued. Mothers or older women often took the boys and taught them to waltz, foxtrot, two-step, square dance, and polka. The box social was part of the entertainment in the social scene of prairie communities. They were held for raising money for school sports equipment, books, or other needed school items. I remember my mom telling me that that was where my father took her on their first date, was to a box social. This get-together for all ages offered a friendly, inexpensive means of introducing shy bachelors to the community's eligible ladies. On the prairies at that time, eligible bachelors outnumbered the single ladies 2-1, and in some regions more. A box social involved the auctioning off of boxed lunches prepared by the ladies. The boxes were decorated with crepe paper, ribbons, wallpaper, or anything available to fancy the plain, often a shoebox, up and make the men wonder who had prepared it. The person auctioning the boxes did so in nickel or dime increments, and the successful bidder got to have lunch with the lady who prepared the lunch. A gal might let the man of her choice know how she had decorated her box so that he would be the one to buy it at the auction. Occasionally, an impish older man bent on giving the young man a hard time would deliberately bid against him, raising the price as high as he dared without being caught buying the lunch himself. Everyone participated, not just the young, and many a wise grandpa bought grandma's box lunch. These box socials were a great way to raise funds for the community, meet the new neighbors, and were a way for young ladies to show off their cooking skills and possibly find your eligible life partner. Many of the ladies put fried chicken in their boxes, while others had sandwiches, along with their special homemade cookies and cake. And Helen's 2 recipes this week are, one is a minced ham sandwich, and the other is a honey date bar. Now for the Spruce Plains RCMP report by Corporal Jacobsen of the Spruce Plains RCMP. This is during the week of May 3rd to 9th. The Spruce Plains RCMP dealt with 58 police activities. On May the 3rd, RCMP received a report of an abandoned vehicle in Minnedosa. The owner of the vehicle was contacted with no cause for concern. Police received a report of a hit and run to a vehicle in Minnedosa, and there were insufficient evidence to proceed further. On May the 4th, RCMP responded to a 911 hang-up call in Neepawa. Police attended the residence and determined it was made accidentally. Police conducted various traffic enforcements, engaging with several motorists. On May 5th, RCMP received numerous calls about new bear sightings in Minnedosa. The calls were referred to the Manitoba conservation officials. Again, the police would like to thank everyone for bearing with them during this time. Haha. Police responded to a commercial alarm in Gladstone, which was determined to have been set off accidentally. On May the 6th, RCMP conducted a COVID compliance check at a residence in Minnedosa. All persons were found complying with quarantine regulations. Police received a report of vandalism to a vehicle in Minnedosa. There was insufficient evidence to proceed further. While conducting traffic enforcement, police came across a person operating a vehicle in the municipality of Glenella Lansdowne who was prohibited from driving. The driver was arrested, charged, and released with a future court appearance. May the 7th, RCMP responded to a report of a missing person in Basswood. After an extensive search involving the use of a police dog, the person was located, who was then transferred to the hospital for an exposure precaution. The person was then brought into custody and was released once sober. Police received a request to do a well-being check on a person on the side of the highway in the municipality of Westlake Gladstone. Police did locate the person, who admitted to having a few drinks, who was then provided a ride back to the family member's residence. On May the 8th, RCMP received a report of theft in Neepawa. The investigation is ongoing. Police responded to a vehicle alarm in Minnedosa. Upon arrival, there was no alarm going off, no damage to the vehicle, and nobody observed nearby. May 9th, RCMP responded to a two-vehicle collision in an intersection in Neepawa. The at-fault driver was issued a ticket for proceeding before safe to do so. Police received a theft of fuel report in Rapid City, and the matter is still under investigation. RCMP conducted 25 traffic enforcement actions during this reporting period. Now, on the Rural Outlook section, Carberry Agricultural Fair and Race is cancelled for 2021 by Kira Patterson. The Carberry Agricultural Society has confirmed the cancellation of the annual Carberry Agricultural Fair and Races for the second year in a row. A social media post written by the Ag Society President and Vice President announced the decision on May the 9th. The post read, "While it hurts us to announce this, many fairs, festivals, concerts, and sporting events around the province continue to be cancelled, and we here at the Carberry Agricultural Fair are no different. All of us at the Ag Society are very disappointed the fair cannot go ahead, as we take great pride in organizing this event. We would like to thank all the sponsors, volunteers, exhibitors, and patrons of the Carberry Fair that have donned our gate and supported us in the past, and hope you will come back in 2022. Roxy Neeshaw, Secretary-Treasurer for the Ag Society, noted that while the fair is a no-go, they haven't written off the whole summer yet. We are hopeful that by the end of summer we are able to provide the community with a small celebration of sorts, but it won't be anywhere close to the scale that our summer fair is. This will be only the 5th time in the fair's history that it has been cancelled, according to the Society. Last year, while the large fair couldn't happen, the Ag Society was able to host a petting zoo, a barbecue, and several Chase the Ace draws at different times throughout the summer. We hope everyone continues to stay healthy and have an enjoyable summer with your families. We will see you July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of 2022 for the best fair ever," the Ag Society post concluded. Now, there are some area schools that have seen COVID-19 cases. A few schools in the area have had to deal with cases of COVID-19 recently. Carberry Collegiate and R.J. Waugh Elementary School in Carberry in the Beautiful Plains School Division each had one confirmed positive case on May 5th and 8th. McCreary and Glenella schools, both in Turtle River School Division, had 3 cases, and one case respectively, identified on May the 3rd. In Carberry, BPSD Superintendent Jason Young said that schools did not have to be moved to remote learning. Beautiful Plains School Division identified one possible cohort of 9 students at Carberry Collegiate that we contacted to self-isolate for the next day, May 6th, while we awaited guidance from public health. Public health deemed there were actually no close contacts at school due to this case, and the students returned on May 7th. Young added that the case at RJWOW was deemed by public health to have no close contacts either, so no cohorts were required to self-isolate. Both individuals who tested positive were still in isolation as of Tuesday, May 11th. We continue to monitor all of our schools and work towards keeping them as safe as we possibly can in these challenging times. Our students, staff, parents, and communities have been incredible in working with us to keep our schools as safe as possible, Jason explained. Both Turtle River School Division schools moved to remote learning on May the 3rd. In-class learning was moved to remote learning in order to reduce any possible community spreads, allow for staff members to regroup, pivot to meet the needs of the students who require learning at home, allow for schools to be thoroughly cleaned, and to support families and students, stated the Superintendent Bev Jemesco. Remote learning ended for Glenella School on May the 10th and for McCreary on May the 12th. The individuals who tested positive, as well as their households, are self-isolating for 14 days. Turtle River School Division has been fortunate to have only had a few cases in our schools over the last year. We followed similar steps and will continue to move schools from in-person to remote learning when deemed supportive in an abundance of caution. It is important to note that families and communities are doing their part in staying home when sick and letting everyone know so that we can take the next steps to keep everyone safe. That is not always easy because of the stigma associated with coming forward. We are appreciative that our communities are supportive of each other and supporting the safety of the community as a whole. And as a provincial update regarding schools, an announcement from the provincial government last Sunday set all Winnipeg and Brandon schools to go into remote learning as of Wednesday, May the 12th. Rural schools are continuing with in-person classes with additional measures to prevent in-school transmission. These additional measures include 1. Schools with multiple cases outside of the same household cases will be moved proactively to remote learning as per existing guidance. 2. School officials can require students and/or staff who are showing symptoms to stay home for 10 days and encourage them to seek testing. Household members without symptoms should also self-isolate or quarantine until the sick individual's test result is received. 3. All extracurricular activities, organized sports, and off-site activities are suspended except for physically distanced walks or runs in the local community. And 4, no indoor singing and no indoor use of wind instruments will be allowed. And 5, all other public health measures will remain in effect. Okay. Now, I don't usually read all of the looking back, but there is one article in particular that I thought you might be interested in, and it was 50 years ago today in 1971. And it reads, although the event was not publicized extensively, There were quite a few spectators on hand to watch the demolition of the 100-foot-high chimney of the former salt works in Neepawa last Wednesday afternoon. And there's a picture of it as it's starting to come down right here. The event was originally scheduled to occur at noon, but it was shortly after 5 o'clock before the final blast of dynamite was fired to send the tall, slender structure to its final doom. Explosive expert Rube Newsham of Bertle said that wind conditions held up the operation, and it was not until 2 o'clock that he decided to continue. He made several small detonations during the morning to determine the type of explosives he should use, and he decided on a certain type of high velocity dynamite with an explosive force 6 times the speed of a bullet to do the job. Many of the spectators expected to see the chimney dissolve into a huge explosion, scattering rubble all over the area, but Mr. Newsham felled the giant stack like a tree, carefully blasting away and cutting steel supports on one side of the base. The chimney came down within a few feet of the red flag he had planted east of the chimney. Blueprints showed the chimney to be constructed of poured concrete reinforced with steel, with a solid concrete base too thick to be demolished easily. The chimney was the last remnant of the old mill of the former Neepawa Salt Works, which was constructed in 1940. Originally, the smokestack was 165 feet in height, but this was lowered to the 100-foot level during remodeling of the plant. A smaller salt works was built on the Sire in 1933, which was of the open pan type, producing grainier salt exclusively. There was mixed emotions among townspeople as to the fate of the chimney. Some felt it should have been preserved as a landmark and tourist attraction. Others felt that the cost of maintaining it in compliance with DOT regulations would be a burden. While one landmark has disappeared, a new one is taking place at the site. Renovation of the mill building into waiting and dressing rooms for the new recreation complex is proceeding well, and steel has arrived for the new arena. Foundation piers have been poured and the ground leveled and filled in preparation for the construction, which will soon begin. I thought that was interesting. Now, bringing advanced healthcare closer to home. There's a picture of Arnie Susky and Murray Parrott unboxing a new UV therapy booth at the Beautiful Plains Community Medical Clinic in Neepawa. And in the background, you can see a person on a laptop, and that's Lorenzo Faison, president of Meditech Plus. He's watching via video conference by Owen Devereaux. Thanks to the efforts of local leaders in the medical community, Neepawa is now home to a new piece of innovative technology. On Friday, May the 7th, an ultraviolet phototherapy booth was installed at the Beautiful Plains Community Medical Clinic. A phototherapy unit emits UV light of a certain wavelength, which helps in the reduction of skin-related inflammations such as eczema and psoriasis. The treatment is usually given 3 to 4 times per week, with each session lasting less than a minute to start. The obtaining of the equipment was led by the Beautiful Plains Medical Clinic doctors, who researched the technology and saw tremendous long-term value in its acquisition. The purchase price for the UV phototherapy unit has not been made public. The UV therapy booth was physically assembled by Neepawa Area Development Corporation, or NADCO, chairperson Murray Parrott and Neepawa District Medical Committee Chair Arnie Susky. The pair were walked through the installation process via video conference by Lorenzo Faison, president of Tech Plus, an Ontario-based manufacturer of medical devices. Parrott noted to the Banner and Press during the assembly that having this type of therapy equipment available to our region's large base of patients is very important, especially under the current circumstances. We have a large catchment area of clients that either have to go to Dauphin or Brandon for this type of treatment. So the doctors here felt as though this would be a great service to be able to provide locally, because patients should not have to drive to Brandon 3 times a week for 5 minutes of treatment, stated Parrott. It's one of those things where it's bringing healthcare closer to home. As for the assembly, under normal circumstances, the manufacturer would come to the community and install the unit and computer system themselves. Due to current travel restrictions and isolation requirements from province to province, however, that was not feasible at this time. Faison told the Banner and Press that walking clients through the assembly process via video conference has become commonplace as of late. Fortunately, he added, most hospitals, clinics, and other health-related facilities have been able to get through the installations without issue. It's a bit of a process walking them through everything over the phone or through video conference, but it has worked. I've done this a few times before. Combine that with the expertise of Murray. I've spoken with him several times, and he has a ton of experience that's going to make this assembly, I'm confident, a smooth one. Parrott added that being a little more hands-on with the installation in this matter will be a benefit for the clinic in the long term. I am very glad that Lorenzo has been able to work with us in this way. It's saving him a trip, but still ensuring we have this equipment operational as quickly as possible. Doing it this way also provides a little more insight to us if something goes wrong, indicated Parrott. With the new equipment now delivered and assembled, the next steps will include the doctors and staff at the Beautiful Plains Community Medical Clinic acclimating themselves to the system and then beginning its use in the community. The schedule for that training to occur is still to be determined at this time. It's also important to note that the Beautiful Plains Medical Clinic will not be taking direct appointments for the UV phototherapy unit. Once operational, patient use will be directed through a doctor's referral. Now, there's just a couple of pictures on this page, and it's scenes from around Clear Lake. Here we have a bear sculpture found at the wishing well in Clear Lake. And here a cyclist is seen near Wasagaming Drive overlooking Clear Lake on May the 7th. Now in the sports section by Owen Devereaux. The Santa Clara Baseball League, or SCBL, is very much looking forward to a return to the Ball Diamond in 2021. They're just hoping that they'll be able to do so with fans in the stands. League co-president Warren Birch said that the 6-team senior baseball circuit already has permission from Baseball Manitoba to start play at any time if they so desire. However, under the current mass gathering restrictions in place from the province, fans would not be allowed to be in attendance. Birch said the fans plan a massive part in helping each community even field a team, so not having them at the games would make a difficult season. The local support helps keep these teams afloat. They support us through donations and vendor sales at certain ballparks. That money helps pay for the cost for the umpires, equipment, and field upkeep. Just all the little things that add up over the course of the year, said Birch. Even aside from that, there is a sense of community pride that goes along with all of this. Having people in the stands motivates the players out there on the field. The fans are as big as part of making this league what it is, as players, coaches, and volunteers are. As for when and if there is a season, all 6 clubs that played in 2020 will be returning for this year. Those clubs are the defending league champions, the Carberry Royals, Portage Padres, Neepawa Cubs, Plumas Pirates, Austin A's, and Ebb and Flow Lakers. As for the proposed schedule, the league is hoping for a full 15-game schedule with each team facing each other 3 times. Birch did note, however, that there are several variations of the schedule under consideration at this time due to the ongoing changes in the province related to COVID-19. He said it does make planning difficult, but that they have done everything they can to be ready to go when the opportunity to play ball makes a comeback. Last season, the Santa Clara League schedule consisted of each club playing a 10-game season. And just have a drink here. This article is about the settlement services helping newcomers with the census by Kira Patterson. Another census has come and gone, seemingly quicker than usual too. The mailed out letters were dated for May the 3rd, arriving in mailboxes shortly after that, while many local residents only had their documents dropped off in person on May 10th, with the deadline for the census set for May 11th. Despite the condensed timeline and COVID-19 restrictions, Neepawa and Area Immigrant Settlement Services, known as NAISS, still made sure to offer help with the census to newcomers in any way they could. During the last census, NAISS held an informational session for newcomers to help educate people on the importance of completing the census, as well as showing them how to go about doing it. We now have a substantial number of people who have stayed here, lived here since that time, so this is not new for them now. They've been down this road once before, explained Coordinator Don Walmsley. This year, NAISS offered one-on-one help by appointment for those who needed some guidance or access to a computer to complete the census. They also focused on trying to get the message out on social media about the importance of completing the census and when the deadline was. Because of pandemic restrictions, an in-person information session wasn't an option this year, but Walmsley said they had considered hosting a virtual session. However, the timeline of this year's census, with the government only starting to put out the message a couple of weeks ago, did not allow NAISS the time to get something organized. Thursday was when we had scheduled an update because we thought the deadline wouldn't be till the 21st, Walmsley said. Things happened really quickly. It really wasn't high on the radar, and then suddenly, boom, May 3rd. And then when it came out, it said completed by May 11th. Walmsley stated that they only had one individual ask NAISS for assistance with their census this year. That means that the majority of people feel comfortable completing the census forms. He added that while they didn't have a lot of requests for help, NAISS did hear a lot of feedback and eagerness from clients about getting their forms completed. Walmsley noted that he hopes everyone was able to get their forms completed this year. We would love to get 100% return on people filling it out to get a really good picture of the demographic in our community. It's very important because what that demographic is helps the town to do some planning, to see the availability going forward of grants and that kind of thing. The larger your community, clearly the larger the quantity or the need you may have in a community. He continued, it gives us a good snapshot. I'm kind of really looking forward to the results, but the critical piece is getting everybody on board to complete the form so that we can get a really good picture. One thing that Walmsley said concerned him and others at his office was the rollout of the census. He noted that some of the people he has spoken to never received their package, which they need to complete a census form as it contains an access code to the online form. In a small poll they had among clients and staff, he noted that about 25% did not receive a census package before the deadline. There seems to be a real buy-in of people wanting to complete their forms, but they need the package to do that, he expressed. Now, this is about a lady that used to live in Neepawa, Cynthia Chartrand, winning a Regional Caregiver Award. The dedication by Owen Devereaux. The dedication of a former Neepawa resident towards helping others has been rightfully recognized, as Cynthia Chartrand has won the Brandon and Westmans Caregiver Award. The honor, presented semi-annually by Brocky Donovan, recognizes caregivers from across the region. Eligible professions include hospice care, nurses, physicians, clergy, social workers, and healthcare administrative professionals. As well, volunteers, family members, or any caregiving individual of note can be recommended for the award. Chartrand was nominated for the Brandon and Westmans Caregiver Award by the son of a former patient, Rod Beach. Cynthia was the charge nurse at the Rivers Personal Care Home for most of Beach's mother's care. In his nomination letter, Rod indicated that Cynthia took the utmost and tender care of his mother and had a huge impact on her quality of life. He added that Chartrand would greet his mother each day with a new and engaging story, which was a highlight for her. Rod and his family also took comfort in always knowing their mom was in good hands and that Cynthia would follow up or sort out any concerns that came up for her health and her care. Cynthia is a true, compassionate caregiver and is very deserving to be recognized and honored. She consistently went above and beyond each and every day by providing exceptional patient care and unparalleled support to their families and friends, stated Beach in his nomination letter. As for receiving this type of accolade, Chartrand noted that this was a very much unexpected honor. Receiving this award was truly a surprise and an extreme honor. To be recognized in such a way for doing something that I genuinely love is difficult to describe, stated Chartrand. I feel blessed that I have a profession where I get to meet and care for amazing people just like Mrs. Beach. To learn from and hear about their experiences. She was truly a wonderful woman, and I was one of many lucky people that had the opportunity to get to know her. Chartrand was also quick to distribute the recognition, stating that she always felt nurses and others in the healthcare industry have an amazing ability to change the lives of their patients, residents, or clients each and every day. The Brocky Donovan Brandon and Westmans Caregiver Award has been presented since 2014 and honors caregiver based upon a review of nominations received from their peers, friends, patients, and their families, and others who feel a particular person excels in his or her role as a caregiver. And this is a picture of Cynthia here. This is Kelly Lombard, Community Events Coordinator for Brocky Donovan. And the Brandon and Westman, and the funeral director apprentice, Michelle Major, was on hand to present Cynthia with the award and a $100 gift certificate for the keg. Way to go, Cynthia. Now for Carberry, North Cyprus, Langford news by Gladwin Scott. Carberry Collegiate staffing changes are starting to take place for the 2021-22 year. Tinley Cameron has signed a permanent contract in grade 5. Jordan Bradco, who was teaching grade 6, has accepted a grade 5-6 position at the new Maryland Park School in Brandon. Lindsay Adrianson, who has taught at Vincent Massey in Brandon and Neepawa Collegiate, has transferred to a permanent grade 6 position. She is very talented artistically, but will be on maternity leave during the 2021-22 year. Carissa Kirkup, who has been on a term physical education contract, will teach grade 6 next year. Shabri Enns will continue on a term grade 8 position, which she held last year. Turtle Mountain School Division, Boisemain/Killarney Superintendent and CEO Tim DeRook has resigned to take a similar position with Wolf Creek School Division based in Ponoka, Alberta, with 7,200 students in 30 schools. Connor Geekie, age 16, a member of the Winnipeg Ice Rookie of the Year, is now back in Strathclair completing his grade 11. He was selected as the WHL Rookie of the Month for April for scoring 15 points in 14 games. Pembina Hills Minor Ball League planned to open the 2021 season the second week in May. It was great to see 3 diamonds at the Carberry Ballpark, full of boys and girls practicing for the coming schedule. They used to play in the Brandon League, which has expanded to Deloraine and Souris, etc. Pembina Hills executive includes President Claire McCabe, Clearwater, past President Rob Gunnison, Glenborough, Vice President Chris Unraw from Carberry, Treasurer Ashley Lemon from Treeherne, Secretary Webmaster Patty Hacko from Bruxelles. MBA representatives are coaches Justin Reed, umpires Shane Norrie, and high performance Derek Jones. AAA head coaches are 13 and under Chris Unraw of Carberry, 15 and under Derek Jones of Balder, 18 and under Ryan Brody of Portage. Past President Rob Gunnison stated that Pembina Hills executive has done a good job to see a heightened interest in baseball, as there were 530 registered players and coaches in 2019, while in 2020 there were 328, while 642 have registered for 2021. Carrie Einerson's Team Canada has been struggling at the World Women's Curling Championships in Calgary and not performing up to expectations. She visited by Zoom with her twin daughters and husband, shed a few tears, and was encouraged by Grad Gushu, her mixed curling partner, with a telegram saying, "Best wishes and curl like the champion you are." Telecasting was interrupted as several veteran curling broadcasters tested positive due to the pandemic. Team Canada scraped into the 6-country World Women's Curling Playoffs and also earned a berth in the 2022 Beijing Olympics. Canada split their last 2 games with a loss to Japan 7-5 and a 6-4 win over China for a 7-6 round-robin record, but lost 8-3 to Sweden in the playoffs. Now it's off to Aberdeen, Scotland for Carrie Einerson and Brad Gushu for the World Mixed Doubles Curling Championship. High energy teacher Bob Clark has had his running team, including 15 to 25 members, out practicing at 8 a.m. several mornings each week starting in mid-April. Energetic students and impressive leadership. He also coaches the badminton team twice a week, one morning and one after school. When in grade 10, several students were zone champions. A fire completely destroyed the home and garage of Richard and Angela Manns Tuesday, May the 4th. Daughters Brianna and Brony were studying university courses online at home with Angela when the fire started in the garage. Richard was returning from a Beautiful Plains School Division board meeting. A trust fund has been established at Westover Credit Union and the Bank of Montreal in Carberry. Further information is available from kim.d.adriansen@gmail.com. In a telephone call, Richard, who is the chairman of the local school board, wanted to express his gratitude for the fantastic support from all the neighbors, firefighters, and others at this difficult time. They were able to rescue some of their pets, all of the international student pictures from the past 20 years, and Ange's rings, and the rest can all be replaced. The family has moved into Grandma Millie Robertson's home in Carberry. Since health regulations prevented us from celebrating Mother's Day in church, we enjoyed our former minister, Reverend Peggy Reed, from Hillsborough, New Brunswick. All mothers received a pansy and the choir performed, complete with masks. Peggy encouraged everyone to raise their casual attire in honor of all mothers. Several even wore top hats, and Dennis Single had on a shirt and tie in respect for his mother in Country Meadows Personal Care Home in Neepawa. Tip of the fedora to the Westwood United Church folks who have supported the province and health authorities to stop the pandemic spread and are being sued by other people. A friend who was shopping in Winkler recently was mocked for wearing a mask. My friend replied, "God gave you a brain, why don't you use it?" It is hoped that if these anti-mask folks get COVID-19, there is a hospital bed for them, or worse still, there is a ventilator, if needed, to keep them breathing. And there's a picture here at the top. Carberry teacher Bob Clark organized a running club which meets several mornings a week. Some of the club posed for a photo at the community hall prior to classes. And they're all wearing a mask. This week's community profile from Carberry is Stacey Wilcox. There's a picture of her right here. Stacey Wilcox was born on Christmas Day 17 years ago and is a member of the Carberry Collegiate 2021 graduating class. She is a member of the honor roll who enjoys music very much. For 6 years, she played clarinet and bass clarinet in the school band and has a great deal of respect for music teacher Justine Burke. COVID-19 has hampered the music program over the past year. However, special masks and bell covers have recently helped. The ukulele was a real challenge for her. Rugby was her main sport, and for 4 years, Wilcox left school twice a week at 3 o'clock to travel for practice with Brian Yawn in Spruce. The Sabres played in a Westman League, including Swan River, Dauphin, Minnedosa, Vincent Massey, and Crocus Plains. Stacey also played varsity basketball with Coach Kalina Green when the Cougars were allowed to play. Individuals who had a positive influence were parents Darla and Marty, her grandparents, and Reagan Dick, who taught her geography, English, and social studies. Future plans include working for 1 to 2 years until she decides which direction her life leads. Now, there's an article submitted by the Canadian Red Cross, and it's tips to help you prepare for wildfires, which there has been quite a few in our province due to the dry conditions. With dry conditions across the province, the Canadian Red Cross has some tips for keeping your home safe and your loved ones prepared. Know the risks in your community as conditions can change quickly. The Government of Canada has a fire management information system that monitors fire danger conditions across the country. Take steps to keep your house and surrounding area clear. Regularly clean roofs and gutters and remove dried out branches, leaves, and debris. It is good practice to maintain a 1.5 meter non-combustible zone around the home by raking down the soil, rock, or concrete. In case of wildfires, keep a small household item like a rake or a shovel handy to tamp down small fires before the emergency responders arrive. Ensure that driveway entrances and house numbers are clearly visible for identification ease for firefighters. Keep an emergency kit on hand in case of evacuation. A basic kit should include supplies for 72 hours after an evacuation and include non-perishable food, cash, a first aid kit, keys, medication, change of clothes, water, and important documents such as home insurance information. Update your kit regularly to discard expired medication and food. Include items to avoid the spread of COVID-19, including masks, hand sanitizer, sanitizer wipes, and gloves. If an evacuation is imminent, back your car into the driveway with the windows closed and valuables packed. If you have pets, keep them close and under control. Close all windows and doors in the house to reduce smoke and debris from entering your home. Move all combustibles away from the house, including barbecues, firewood, and lawn furniture. Follow instructions from emergency officials and stay safe. Agriculture, Environment, and Animal Care by Cam Dahl from Manitoba Pork Council. Legislation brought forward by the provincial government has sparked debate about agriculture in Manitoba. The Animal Diseases Amendment Act has drawn comments about environmental impact and animal care. In the past, farmers produced a little of everything. A few animals, a bit of grain produced with minimal inputs. Some nostalgically viewed this bygone era as the ideal form of agricultural production. However, that was not the case from either an environmental point of view or the experience of the family on the farm. Past production practices depleted soil nutrients and left the land vulnerable to erosion. Farmers of the past did not have the tools and production practices that allow modern families to protect our water. They did not have advanced veterinary treatments to ensure healthy animals. What is another key aspect of Old MacDonald's farm that should never be forgotten? The family who lived on it existed in poverty. Old MacDonald has retired from farming. We should not invite him back to work. Beginning in the last half of the 20th century, agriculture began to modernize. Today, farmers have transformed agricultural production to keep up with the world demand for safe, high-quality food that is produced in an environmentally sustainable way. This can be easily seen on modern hog operations in Manitoba. Significant progress has been made to improve the environmental footprint of the province's hog sector. For example, current hog production emits 35% less greenhouse gases than 50 years ago. Manure is managed as a valuable plant nutrient rather than waste to be disposed. Over 85% of manure is injected below the surface of the soil, where the nutrients are readily available for crops. Today's pork is produced using 40% less water and 33% less feed than 50 years ago. Modern operations have the economies of scale to take advantage of emerging research, new technologies, and innovative farming practices to further improve the industry's environmental impact. The Animal Diseases Amendment Act has generated comments about the human treatment of animals. Hog producers in Manitoba adhere to strict animal care codes that are a combination of professional standards backed up by regulatory enforcement. Every hog farmer in Manitoba is expected to follow the code of practice for the care and handling of pigs. The code is a result of a vigorous development progress that uses the best science on pig health and welfare, which has been compiled through an independent peer-reviewed process. The Code Development Committee includes independent scientists and representatives from non-governmental organizations involved in animal welfare. Backing up the code of practice is legislation and regulation, like Manitoba's Animal Care Act. Those who do not provide animals in their care with adequate food and water and ensure that they are kept in sanitary and safe conditions are subject to fines or even imprisonment. Offenders can be prohibited from owning animals following conviction. Manitoba's animal welfare regulations are current, effective, and have been used by other jurisdictions as a model to follow. Animal care in modern hog production does not stop at codes of practice and regulatory enforcement. There is also verification. The Canadian Quality Assurance, or CQA program, and its replacement, the Canadian Pork Excellence Program, CPE, are national platforms that for producers to demonstrate compliance with food safety, animal care, and traceability. Program registration is required to ship animals to federally inspected processors. Under these programs, animal care is assessed regularly, including an annual visit from a veterinarian. Modern Manitoba hog farmers are leaders in protecting their animals and the environment. In return, they need protection, and the pigs under their care need to be protected from foreign animal diseases like African swine fever. This protection is lost if people from outside the farm breach biosecurity. Farm families also need to be protected from those who come onto their property without permission. This is where the Animal Diseases Amendment Act and its companion bill, the Petty Trespass Amendment and Occupiers Liability Act, come into play. These bills are designed to protect livestock and the farm families, who are such an important part of rural development and the economic fabric of Manitoba. The hog sector contributes approximately $1.7 billion to the provincial economy and provides over 14,000 Manitobans with quality jobs. In the last 5 years, over $100 million of private investment has flowed into the province because of the sector. Hog production is a success story that all Manitobans can celebrate, and one that should be protected for the future. Minnedosa business gives back to the community. It's a picture here of Rajesh Mishra, the owner and operator of RD's on Main in Minnedosa. He's was recently presented a check for $1,000 to John Mendricus. The money raised will be given to the Minnedosa and District Health Foundation, Inc., to aid in the purchasing of a portable ultrasound for the community. And donations to Touchwood continue to roll in. Here we have Michelle Girard, owner of Neepawa's Home Hardware, presenting a check of $2,000 on May 10th to the Touchwood Park Association. The money received is being put towards appliances for the building. Receiving the check were Touchwood board members Jeff Braun and Executive Director Arlie Wilson. Over the past few weeks, several businesses and organizations across Neepawa and area have donated to Touchwood to assist the program as it prepares to finalize work on its new day program building. And here we have a couple of greenhouse pictures. The first one is of A&B Dalrymple Country Farm Greenhouse in Minnedosa. They held a Light Up the Night event on May the 7th. Patrons could visit the illuminated greenhouse up to 10 p.m. on May 7th and 8th, as well as May 14th and 15th. And this is a picture of the Parkside Gardens. It is located adjacent to the Neepawa Gladstone Co-op grocery store. And this was on May the 3rd. So it is open also. And I think I just have enough time to read one more article. This is by Homebodies by Rita Friesen. called Random Thoughts. More time for thinking, so I took out a series of random thoughts of my childhood and youth, of carefree, endless days, of family and friends, neighbors and school. Walk with me. Now, games. From early days, my family enjoyed table games. My parents decried cards, as in the deck of 52, but heated games involved cards like pit, the buying and selling of stocks. That memory is clear, though I admit the apparent contradiction is not. As a parent and as a child, Monopoly was a wonderful way to spend or waste an afternoon, and sometimes on until the evening. Still long to get the corner of Boardwalk and Park Place. We learned how to lose and win graciously if we ever wanted the siblings and cousins to play with us again. Chinese checkers, crokinole, checkers were also games we enjoyed and played. Outdoor games developed our hearing. Anti-eye over, in the dark, hide and go seek in the dark as well. You listened carefully and moved quickly. As a family, we were able to take holidays. This was before there was entertainment outlets in the vehicles. Hours spent playing I Spy, travel bingo, storytelling, one of my favorites. Who can be the quietest the longest? We spotted provincial and state license plates, teaching and learning a bit in the confines of the van. One trip, Ed determined that our youngest was going to memorize the multiplication tables. Good thing she loved her daddy and learning, or it would have made for a very long trip. Track and field days. Our country school did not have an indoor gymnasium. We had a lower auditorium basement that housed a table tennis and a teacher's lounge on one side of the building and a large room that could be used for concerts. We didn't have much time allocated to prepare for track and field. Not to worry, we are almost all active, sturdy chore kids, farm kids. The divisional meet day was always the Friday before the May long weekend. The Graysville School made some impressive performances with fellow students heading off to provincials. My favorites were the races, the jumps, both long and broad, and the hurdles. The beauty and fluidity of clearing the hurdles still brings a smile. Catching fireflies. One set of second cousins lived 15 miles away, and the terrain was very different from where I spent my early years. They lived beside a railroad track with a slow creek nearby, and every early summer we visited them, and that is where I first met fireflies. We would chase and capture them, placing them in a glass jar that the adults gave us, and these tiny creatures fascinate me to this day. The best show ever on a summer night. Memories have more space to surface these days, and I am thankful for the pleasant ones. Very nice. Well, that about does it for this week's edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press. Thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.